What in the world happened here? So make sure you guys smash living crap out of those alt art buttons so you guys don't miss out more awesome content, you know? I cannot believe the sheer amount of hype that these alt arts for the Fallen of Albaz, Aluber, Blazing Cartesian, Incredible Ecclesia have gone through. We saw Incredible Ecclesia was the first one to go, and it was the huge boost that really was, I guess, due to the level 8 synchro last week, which was expected. But then we slammed down into this week, and Fallen of Albaz has turned into a $60+ card for the alt art. Aluber has started to move for some reason, which I think is hilarious. You know, the Aluber being $40 is great, actually. And Blazing Cartesia has re-exceeded my expectations by hitting $100. Not even to mention that Albion has been bought out multiple times this week. Lulu Wallace kind of spinning around here, but the branded stuff, as each and every day has gone by, has been a different story at this point. We have seen a different side of this really kind of exceeding my expectations in the deck building space. And I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's very reflective of the market here. You know, we're getting to see a lot of this initial hype for this. And I mean, you're in a revolution right now. You are seeing these Albaz cards causing such welcoming market shifts that, you know, they literally went from rags to riches at this point. So congratulations to the Fallen of Albaz cards, reigniting the marketplace and really showing that players love this deck. And I think that's a win, people. That's amazing. Springans. No way he's actually... yeah, I get to talk about Springans here. So, I have been deep in researching the Yu-Gi-Oh! Day events out of Japan. And I have constantly seen one interesting thing. There have been a couple of Spriggan decks kind of popping up and kind of changing my opinion a little bit on the situation that we've been in. Because I thought when we got the new Spriggan cards, you know, I was like, okay, you know, this is just interesting. You know, Spriggans don't really got much of a tail going for themselves. But actually, Spriggans do have something going for themselves. They actually do have a working opportunity within the meta. And obviously, I mean, the big winners still to pick up are the Merrymaker. The kit just got reprinted. And the rest of the Spriggans deck outside of Merrymaker and the X-Blower, which... X-Blower, I mean, do we really even give a crap about at this point in time? The entire Spriggans core is literally nothing on top of nothing, minus Merrymaker. And the fact that they decided to go, hey, we're going to give you one extra thing in here is actually kind of nice. I do appreciate having the extra value and resources is pretty good. And that's actually good. I don't know, man. I'm happy to report that out of all of the OCG madness that we have seen, to actually see Spriggans keeping up in a format where you got Mitsurugi hitting the ground running and you're actually looking like a competent challenger, that really is the kind of game-changing and nice things that we want to see these support cards actually bringing to the field. Now we do have Exosister over here. Exosister exceeded my expectations in the Japanese Yu-Gi-Oh! Day events. And looking at the current pricing on Martha and things like that, I gotta say, it's definitely something of interest, to say the least. I think Exosister was one of the decks that has been the most hyped out of, you know, Burst Protocol, because, you know, you can now force the opponent to banish cards with the Batmater. All right, that's incredibly valuable in the sense of, you know, the deck building and how you're going. Now, obviously, there's a lot of high rarity Exosister stuff, which we've already seen is impacted. The good news is, outside of Martha, your big components are just going to just be, just Martha. Everything else, I mean, what, Mikhail's is a little bit of value, but everything else is fine. The big thing that you've got to understand when you're playing Exosister right now is I've seen a lot of these builds cutting Zeus. They're not even really giving a crap about having that card as an option anymore, because it doesn't really, I mean, it does help out the game plan to have a monster you can slap down, but 99% of the time you're going to get locked into Exosister anyway, and you're not going to be making a Zeus, which means, your extra deck just becomes a little bit more tight in that discussion. So that is kind of something interesting to think about here. Is Exosister worth picking up? I'm already seeing early data telling me that it's performing. If you want to build the deck for post-burst protocol, I mean, you're still on a 4-month timer, which is a little bit ridiculous. I think you could take your time with this one. Next up has been Lava Golem. I am intrigued with this, because Lava Golem, the QCR price continues to kind of shift around and get a little bit more heated, as you will. The cool thing with Lava Golem as a card is it's one of the more unique senses, is because you can continuously rotate these out as long as your opponent has monsters. And then you're going to look at certain decks that are going to go, hey, if I can bounce this Lava Golem back to my hand, i.e., Regenesis, and deploying an Arth Lion onto the field, then I can break apart your field a second time. Now, if your opponent has 6 monsters on the field, thanks to the extra monster zone, and you are able to spin through a Lava Golem that many times, congratulations. I'm going to clap for you. You deserve your free win at this point, because you have accomplished one of the easier tasks within the game. You have broken the field. You have reused the resource. That is just very, very easily. And we've also seen like Dark Spirit's Mastery kind of coming up as a tech choice, as kind of like a recurable tool to reuse. But like, honestly, I don't think that wanting to play a Dark Spirit's Mastery in this deck, for example, is something I would want to do. I don't want to have to go pull for the Lava Golem. It's a card that, if I'm playing something degenerate as it is, it answers the opponent's cards by giving them another monster and so forth. Also, your other rarities, Lava Golem, I mean, they're not doing too crazy. I mean, the Speed Duel one's like the next one I'd be really worried about looking at, but you've got first editions. Lava Golem has been reprinted so much that it's only going to be the highest rarity one that I think you're really going to kind of have to bat an eye on. And then I got to talk about Fleurdelis, the Thunderbolt, again. We have seen more lists in the OCG starting to look at this card because, one, it does not cause you to get locked. And having that 2,500 anchor is really good, but also it's now turning out that more decks want to have access to pulling out that punishment and being able to use it to your advantage. And I think that's a very, very important thing, man. At the least, if you are looking at this card, it has been kind of going up in price. I mean, we did hit $11 at the low point for the Thunderbolt, which maybe wasn't the saddest or greatest time to be picking them up. But the reality of the situation here is right now it's kind of leveled out at $15. You've also got the concept and idea that Dogmatika is slightly playable right now, which I do kind of think is really, really cool, actually. Don't disagree with having an extra level 8 that you could work with. Also, once again, I come back to the Dogmatika punishment thing. If it is something that you can access, maybe you want to consider it, man. It does seem very, very well. Outside of that, Albaz has just been crazy this week. Like, all sorts of variants and things that you can bring to the table. I didn't think Konami could do it, but they found a way to really bring it back together. And that's saying something. So please leave a comment down below to what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back there in day, guys. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.